Hello everyone, we have to discuss about that. The ethnicals and conduction of and the individual is shaped by the both and the intrinsic and extrinsic factors. Discuss the key determinant of ethnics in the human behavior. 150 10 marks. Introduction. Ethnic behavior arises from both inner and virtuous and external influences, while the value anchors use the internally. Society law and the uprisings continuously shaped how we act in morally events situations. Intrinsic and determinant the inner compass. What lies behind us and what lies and before us are teeny matters and compared to the what lies within and us. The Ralph Waldo Emerson's conscience, personal value and virtues, moral reasonings and emotion intelligence. Conscience, it acts as an the inner moral compass guiding decisions privately. Example, Gandhi followed his inner peace in difficult choices. Person's value and virtues. Core value likes the honesty, save ethical consistency. Example, you and the Sangha. Yam is upheld honesty despite political pressures and moral reasonings. It is held balance conflicting value in grey zones. An example is Socrates and encouraged critical reflections for the moral decisions. Emotional intelligence, empathy and self-awareness. 8 fair decisions. Example, empathy drive. Empathy driven leadership during disasters. Help public welfare. Extrinsic factors. The outer influences. Man is not the born moral and he becomes the moral only in either society. Emile Durkheim. Family early moral training sets a lifelong foundation. Example, the APJ Abdul Kalam. Integrity stem from his and the discipline up Brighting's education system. Moral education fosters civil ethics. Example, school initiatives like the Sankalpa Patras and promotes the honesty. Law and social norms. They shape the behavior through the deterrences and approach. Example, RTI Act 2005 boosted transparently in government, professional codes and peers influence, institutional rules and peer conduct reinforce ethics. Example, civil service conducted rule promote neutrality and interplay of the intrinsic extrinsic science factors. Ethical choices often emerge from other conflict or balance between the inner values and external pressure. Example are as follow. Manjunath IOC officers stood by the internal integrity despite other corrupt external environment. Other traffic policemen letting off other violators due to the political pressure shows the internal override of weak intrinsic value. Conclusion, ethicals conduct is not the accidental, it is the cultivated through the element of the personal conscience and societal influences. A balanced ethical characters emerge when both the determinant and reinforce each other consistency. Question number 2. Ethical actions may sometimes lead to short-term losses but ensures long-term gain for society. Analyzes this the statement with the respect to the consequences of the adherence to ethical value in public administration. 150 10 marks. The ethical decision in public administration may sometimes cause short-term difficulties like the delay or opposition. However, thus the decisions are essential for building trust, fairness, and strong institutions that benefit society in the long run. Body consequences, short-term challenges, and long-term benefits of ethical actions. In the long run, the most comfortable trust is better than the most comforting sleaze. Thomas Friedman. Upholding integrity, ethical resistance can the invite backlash but the boosts long-term faith. Example, Sanjeev Chaturvedi faced the harassment but the exposed corruptions. Honest auditing and accountability initials the frictions can lead to the system improvement. Example, Vinod Rai audits triggered financial reforms and rejecting populism. Ethical stand may lose votes but secured policy integrity. Example, EC strict code of conduct preserve electoral fairness. Transparent welfare delivery, initial delay can prevent futures leakages. Example, Aadhaar enabled DBT reduced corruptions in welfare. 5. Fair law enforcement and protecting the public resources and resistance ensured lead and justice has the lasting effect. Example, Julio Ribeiro and policing reduced insurgency in Punjab. Protecting public resources, sacrificing comfort can save national assets. Example, Durga Shakti Nagpal acted effect against the illegal mining. Resisting nepotism and merit harder. Wastage interest but the bult institutional credibility. Example, UPSC ensures fairness in the requirement. Ethical leadership, long-term culture of accountability grows and from the ethicals. Examples, TSR Subramaniam reformed civil services ethos. Conclusion, short-term laws excuses by the ethical actions often become the foundation for long-term public and trust. Cornerstones of other just administrative system. As the Martin Luther King and J.R. famously said, the time is always right to do what is right. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 देख लेते हैं. द इंटरसेक्शंस ऑफ द पब्लिक सर्विस एंड प्राइवेट इंटरेक्शंस ऑफ्टन द क्रिएट्स इथिकल्स dilemmas. Examines the challenges in maintaining ethical governance when the public officials engage with private entities. 151 10 marks. Ethical governments demand that the public officials act the solely in the interest of the people. However, when private affiliations influence official decisions, conflict of interest arises, leading to the ethical dilemmas where the personal gain may outweigh public's duty. Body interaction and ethical dilemmas. Public officials ties with the private entitled and can the create conflict of interest, compromising fairness by the prioritizing personal gain over the public welfare. Example, a civil servant showing the leniency to other companies and where they hope to get other job after the retirement illustrates and this the ethicals conflict and challenges in maintaining the ethical governance. Regularity captures corporate influences that distort and policies for profit. Example, Vedanta lobbyings clashed with and the tribal rights in and the Niyamgiri. Nepotism and the cronyism and personal ties and override merit. Example, PSU appointment raised concern during Air India disinvestment post the retirement benefits and future jobs and compromising present decisions. Example, viral Acharya warn of the bureaucrats joining the private firms. They regulated waste decision making resources may be the diverted for the personal gains. An example, Adarsh scheme diverted flats meant for the war window and insiders information misuse leaks and help the private profiteerings. Example, 2015 and petroleum documents and leak helped energy firms and procurement corruptions. Kickbacks in the tenders and vast public funds. Example, CWG and schemes the involved influence contract. Unregulated lowing and opaque influences undermines democracy. Example, the KG basin prices controversies reflected policy captures. Erosion of trust repeated, the misconduct destroyed the citizen faith. Example, the 2G scams deeply hurt institutional credibilities. Conclusion, to safeguard ethics in government, official must the afford objectivity and probity and public interest. Institutional safeguard, transparent and procedures, and the strict code of conduct are essentials. Question number 3. In the age of the procedural government and the institutional detachment, human value remains the silence architects of ethical public actions. Discuss the ethical dispensabilities of human value is shaping administrative decisions making. 151 10 marks. Introduction. The ethical governance goes the beyond mere mere procedures and institutions. That second administration's reform commission 2007 highlight that the human values and such as the empathy, compassion, integrity are the essential for effective public administrations. Body, proceduralism and institution detachment. Body, proceduralism and the institutional detachment and procedurals government ensure uniformly and but can and created the ethical distance ban officers enforce ruled. Enforcement ruled without the moral and declarations. Example, denying welfare to the undocumented slums dwellers and despite their the genuine needs show the gap between the legal procedures and ethical responsibilities. Role of human value in ethical administration decisions making. Integrity and the impartiality and empathy and inclusively accountability and transparency, justice and fairness, courage and convictions. Integrity and impartiality, honest decision, protect public interest. Example, E. Sridharan delivered Delhi Metro without the corruptions and empathy and inclusively understanding other the measures fear the policies. Example, Avanish and Shrans led the initiative empower landless farmers. Accountabilities and transparency being the answer enhances citizens' trust. Example, Sanjeev Chaturvedi exposed corruption. It aims justice and fairness, equal treatment, reduce the social conflict. Example, Rama Rajeshwari curbed the caste violence through the community policings, courage and the convictions. Ethical fairness protest institution. Example, Durga Shakti Nagpal took on sand mafia despite risk. Service orientations and prioritizing public goods ensures the meaningful governance. Example, Smita Sabharwal fund your citizen, improved civil and infrastructures. Ethical leaderships leading morality inspired collective integrity. Example, armstring PM built the road through the crowdfundings. Adaptabilities and innovations, contextual thinking, solve real problems. Example, Sujata Chaturvedi digitalized welfares during COVID-19 Conclusion. Therefore, human values are the foundation of the ethical government. As Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose and yourself in the service of others, and embedding thus values makes the governance truly ethical and people centered. Question number 5. My life is my message. Mahatma Gandhi in the context of ethical leadership, and what lesson can be the draw from the life of Gandhi in aligning personal conduct and with the public duty. 150 words, 10 marks. Introduction. Mahatma Gandhi's statement reflected the core of ethical leadership, where personal conduct perfectly aligns with the public duty. Gandhi's life is a timeless example of how integrity, non-violence, and self-sacrifice can ensure a nation's body. Lesson from the Gandhi life on the ethical leadership, integrity and consistency, non-violence and comparison, self-decisions and sacrifice, humanity and the servant leaderships, courage to uphold truth, inclusiveness and the equalities, leading by example, accountability and transparency, integrity and the consistency, personal truth, guidant public life example. Gandhi wore the khadi to promote the self-reliance, non-violence and compassion, peaceful resistance become other moral tool. Example, Salt March showed the ethical protest despite the repressions, self-decisions and sacrifice, personal restrict and moral ethical leadership's example. Gandhi faced his awaked public conscience, humility and servant leadership's power was the exercise through the service. Example, Gandhi lived simply and shared duties with the followers and courage to uphold truth. Moral stance remains firm under the pressures. Example, Gandhi endures jail but never the abandoned and non-violence, inclusiveness and inequality. He found the discriminations with actions. And example, Gandhi embraced Dalits as Harijans, leading by example. Personal action inspired mass movement. Example, inspiring Siams and encouraged economic resistance, accountability and transparency. He welcomed dissent and debates. Example, open discussions in INC World Collective Ethics. Conclusion. Gandhi life teach that the ethical leadership demand that the person's conduct fully embodies public service, as he the famously said, and be the change that you wish to see in the world. And Gandhi ji remains the beacon for leaders and striving to align ethics with the governance. There is no school equals to other decent home, and no teachers equals to other virtues parents in life. Or in light of this statement, example, the role of family in shaping values and attitude in and the individuals. How can parenting in the modern eras and balance traditions and challenge to the inculcate ethical behavior in children? 150 was 10 marks. Introductions. The family is a child first school, and where the value take root and the character forms in other changing world. Parents play a crucial role in balancing timeless virtue with the modern realities to nurture ethically grounded and emotionally resilient individuals. Body role of family is shaping values and attitudes. Our success as a society depends not on the what happened in the White House, but what happened inside your house. Barbara Bush. First, ethical government and children observe the value like the honesty and empathy through the everyday family's life. Examples, APJ Abdul Kalam created his the disciplined and home from shaping his and the humanity and service. Emotional bonding, emotionally secured family ties help children internationalize ethics. Example, Mandela sense of justice was inspired by the family story of dignity. Cultural and moral transmissions, ritual and story pass on identity and value. Example, Tagore humanism and grow from his and the culturally rich household. Parenting style, affirm it the loving approach, world accountabilities. Example, studying shows such the parenting enhances civil and ethical behavior. Moral dialogues and reasoning, open discussions foster ethical thinking. Example, the monasteries homes guide children to reason through the moral choices. Balancing tradition and change in modern parenting, adopting timeless value, encouraging reflection not blind and conformities. Preparing for ethical challenges, role modeling ethical adaptability. Open inclusive dialogues in family settings, adopting timeless value must involve with the digital risk of modern time. Example, Finland blend composition with media's literacy for digital ethics, encouraging reflection not blind conformity. Children should question while staying rooted. Scandinavian schools and promotes the moral autonomy with the traditions. Preparing for the ethical challenges kids and need tools to face online and social issues. Example, UNICEF teaches online ethics through the digital citizens programs. Role modeling ethicals and adaptabilities, and parents and must live the values. And while the embarrassing programs, example, the Jacinda Ardern's models value based and the empathetic leaderships. Open inclusive dialogues in family settings. Families must balance share the values and with the respect for difference. Example, CBSE value kit and supported the pluralistic ethics at home. Conclusion, a nurturing home remains the most enduring space for early ethical socializations. Today's the parents must the harmonize traditions with the context, cultivating children who live with the integrities and empathy and moral courages. Question number second. The mind is not other vessels to be the filled and but other fire to be the kind led. In this the context discuss how educational institutions today can go beyond rote learning to save the values, critical thinkings and ethical attitudes among the student. Sports, support your answer with the recent example. 150 by 10 marks. Introductions. The quota was the Plutarch and underlines that the education must not the merely and prepare student to answer question but to the question answer in and the involving society. The purposes of the schooling should extend beyond the graded to the buildings of good character body. Rote learning and its ethical limitations. Limits ethical reflection by the discouraging questionings and critical thinkings. Reduced empathy as the moral context and lived experience at the side list. Encourages conformities and over the integrity and the independent judgment. How education can the kindles ethical thinking and value based and ethical context. Courses on ethicals and civil duties but the moral awareness. Example, CBSE and NCRT includes the value education to the sensitized student. Interactive teachings methods, debates and the dilemmas sharpen moral reasonings. Example, Ajim and Premji universities uses the ethical case studies to build the judgment. Teachers as moral exemplars and teachers conduct the strongly shaped student character. Example, Dr. Kalam and credited teachers Solomons for his morals foundation, fostering inclusive environments and respectful spaces. nurture empathy and the cooperations. Example, Delhi happiness curriculums includes kindness and mindfulness. Community service, ground engagement build empathy and responsible. Example, NSS and NCC promotes the services, teamwork and the discipline. A serpent revolt, moving beyond the root and learning dependence understanding. Example, 2020 support the critical thinkings and application based the learning and digital literacy and cyber ethics. Student must learn safe and the ethical online use. Example, school teach cyber etiquette and privacy and misinformation handling. 8. Student lead the initiative for the moral learning, peers the forums development, shared the ethical responsibility. Example, ethics clubs and schools parliament enable student lead the moral actions. Conclusion, as Mahatma Gandhi said, by the education I mean an all around drawing out of the best in the children's child and man body, mind and spirit. The truly enlightenment education system must the sparkle and not just knowledge but our conscience. Question number 3. A positive attitude is the essential character of the civil servant who is often required to function under the extreme stress, and what contributes to other positive attitude in other person. 151 10 marks. A civil servant job involve the context, pressures, ethical choices and public accountabilities. Other position attitude ensures balance, resistance and people centric governance. As the very Williams James said, a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. By other positive attitude is essential for other civil servant. Resilience under the pressure, ethical decisions making, public service motivations. Resilience under pressures. It helps civil servant stay calm and effective during crisis. Example, Gaurav Gol managed Bihar floods relief with composure. Ethical decision making. A positive outlook support the integrity in tough calls. Example, Ashok Khemka stood against the corruptions despite the transfers. Public servant motivation, it is fosters empathy and citizens friendly behavior. Example, Durga Shakti Nagpal, rural work showed the service commitment. Factor contributing to other positive attitude. Ethical foundations, emotional intelligence, growth mindset, supporting environments and wellness practices. Ethical foundations, core value like the honesty and justice in core. One mindset. Example, T.N. Sessions reforms the stemmed from moral convictions and emotional intelligence. Managing emotions help the stay balances under the critic. Example, Kiran Bedi led Tihar reforms with the sensitivity. Growth mindset beings future as lesson built and the optimist. Example, Kalam turns the yearly setbacks into the lifelong motivations. Supporting environment, mentors and peers boost morals and self-belief. Example, young IS officers and Ganda from seniors guidance. Wellness practices, mindfulness and fitness strength. Mental resiliences. Example, Rajni Siwal used the meditation to manage stress. Conclusion. A positive attitude is not the innate, it is the cultivated growth, ethical groundings, emotions, maturities, and continuous reflection. For the civil servant, it becomes the compass that ensures service with humanity, empathy, and unwavering commitment to the public goods. Question number 4. In the digital age, how do the social media and internet platforms shape the public attitude, and what ethical challenges arise from their the influences? Suggest measures to promote the positive and responsible behavior through thus the platform. 150 words, 10 marks. Introduction. In today's digital world and social media shaped the public thinking and behavior. While it can inform and the empower, it is also spread the wise in misinformation and unethical norms. As Lang said, technology is the useful servant but the dangerous master body. Influences of social medias on public attitude. Voice amplification. Social media's platform gives the visibility to the marginal voice, shaping discourses and mobilizing collective action. Example: the MENTOO movement empowerment survivors and shifted social norms. Echo charms and the algorithm feed users and content they agreed with, enforcing biases and depending polarizations. Example: US politicals radicalizations has grown through the isolated online communities, normalizing hate. Constant exposures to controllings and abuse makes unethical behavior seems the acceptable. Example: celebrities and the activities are often targeting through the coordinated hate and comparisons. Consumerist cultures. Influencers promotes the aspirational lifestyles that the distort youth value and self-bombs. Example: many the teenagers reports exciting linkage to the curated lives on Instagram. Ethical challenges. Fake news and the verified content spreads and repeatedly undermining truth and the public trust. Example: COVID-19 rumors and worsened panic and the vaccine hesitancy. Anonymity, hidden identities, and enables abuse and misinformation without the accountabilities. Example: troll account incites and communal hatred and personal attack. Data misuse. Tech comprises harvest personal data to influence the harming privacy and the account autonomy. Example: the Cambridge Analytica case shows the manipulations of the electoral reference. Promoting ethical behaviors. Digital literacy teachings critical thinking and empathy helps the user navigates online spaces responsibilities. Example: UNESCO curriculums promotes safe and ethical digital participations. Regulation. Stronger laws and moderation ensure the accountability and ethical tech government. Example: India IT rules 2021 hold the platform responsible for the content and redressal. Design nudges. Ethical platforms design can the prompt and reflection and prevent impulsive sharing. Example: Twitter's read before the rate sweet features and encourages information engagement. Example: I am strong. Fame uses social medias to engage the youth and serve communities. Conclusion. Social media is not the inherently good or bad. It is the reflects and the amplified what we the feed into it and by the allegiance. alleging digital and the practices with ethical principles. We can the harness it as other force for the collective empathy, awareness, and information citizens. Question number 5. Attitude shapes our the behavior. In this the context, examine the relationship between the attitude and behavior. What factors can lead to the divergence between them? 150 but 10 marks. Attitude reflect one's the internal dispositions towards the people, situation, or ideas, while the behavior is the external expressions of that the dispositions. The reflections between the attitude and behavior is often influences by the situation and the philosophical factors. Body relationship between the attitude and behavior, guidance, example, actions. A positive attitude promotes the proactive and the constructive responses to challenges, example, and the empathic officers ensures the timely welfare's delivery during the disasters. Cognitives consistencies pupils act in way that the aligns with their the core reliefs and to the maintain internal harmony. Example, Gandhi belief in non-violence shaped his the peaceful resistance movement. Value reflection, strong deeply held attitude often the show up in and the consistent habitual behavior. A teacher's valuing and equality ensured, including classrooms without the reminder. Causes of divergence, social pressures, fear of consequences, and be convict and dishonest practical limitations. Social pressures, pupils may act against the belief to conform or avoid a conflict. Example, Ashok Khemka, resistance corruptions unlike peers and who straight seems to fit in, and fear of the consequences, concern for the safety or the career may override moral convictions. Example, some civil servants followed unethical orders fearing political backlash. Weak and the convictions, superficials and attitude collapse under the pressures on convictions. Example, youth who the support sustainabilities may still choose first fashion for ease. Dissonance, pupils justifying actions that the contradict their the belief to the reduce inner conflict. Example, Dominic Cummings and broke lockdowns rules but the justified it as necessary. Practical limits, situation barriers may the president action aligns with one values. Example, some and the world whistle blowers and staying the silence fearing job loss or the retailizations. Conclusion, the attitude behaviors links in is the central to understanding's moral agency. To bridge and the divergences, one most the cultivates morals courage, depends self-awareness and built the ethical resistance as the Aristotle said. Br. Question number 1. Contemporary politics. In contemporary politics and identity, often the overrides ideology as the primacy driven of political attitude. Discuss. Introduction. Identity is one sense of the belonging based on traits like the religion, caste, or ethnicities. Ideology is the set of the political beliefs and values. Today, the identities often shaped political attitude more strongly than ideology. Body. Political attitudes shaped more by the identities. As the Amartya Sen noted, the identity can be a source of pride and but also other prisons. Identity drives loyalty. Caste, religions, or the religious often define the political alliance. Example, caste voting pattern in Bihar election. Emotion beat reason. Identity linkage, emotion likes the pride of or fear distorts rational choice. Example, nationalism domination economic debates in 2019 election. Leaders export divisions. Political mobilizing identity narratives to deflect accountability. Example, communal overtones during the Delhi route and controversy. Media reinforce echo chambers. Algorithm fuel identity based the context and bubbles. Example, social media polarizations during the CAA protest. Socialization embed an identity early. Children inherit an identity based the affiliations before the political awareness. Example, the family based party and loyalty in rural area. India. Enduring relevance of ideology. Ideology appeals to urban voters. Educated youth favors issues based the political. Example, the Bangalore youth backing climate and focused candidates. Ideologies mobilizing reforms and movement need the ideologies visions to sustain. Example, the leftist ideology in Kerala land reforms and civil the education promotes the ideology awareness help the citizens shift focus from the identity. Example, the Kerala civils literacy aiding issue based politics. Conclusion, through the identity often the dominates but the ideology remains the battle where the civil awareness is the strong. The healthy democracy must more beyond identity trap. The balanced democracy demand the conscience shift from the emotives identity politicals to enforce ideological participations. Thank you, as this session will be closed.